Hello and welcome to the table. I'm Mark Windle.
I'm Steve Rain. And I'm Jonathan Hicks.
In this episode, we're talking about our top 5 turn-offs. So, reasons why we wouldn't want to buy a game. Jonathan neatly described it as, and I think it worked for me, as say you're looking at reading a review, watching a video, and they mention something about it, or show something, and you go, no, it's not going to be for me. And you just, straight off, let's go and look at a different link.
Yeah, you look on the Board Game Geek's view of the game, and something on that page tells you, nah, don't want this, move on.
Because I've discovered I do this quite a lot. Like, I tend to keep a fairly close eye on Kickstarter, and there are a lot of games that are coming on Kickstarter constantly. Each week there's more games being added. And so you have to fairly quickly, unless you spend hours and hours going through them all, work out which of the games that are going to potentially interest you more and which ones you're just going to leave. So I've become quite
You've got a filter, basically.
That's right, saying yes, yes, no, oh, definitely no, and kind of working through like that.
I mean, certainly Kickstarter's case of, am I going to spend upwards of £100 plus just to, or dollars in your case, whatever, but to, and you've got to make a decision quickly because otherwise you're going to be there half a day. I mean, same with I might look on the list of new releases and have a quick line, go and have a quick click on the board game and they can go, yeah, not for me, straight away, next one. If because there's so many games these days.
Yeah, you've got to be pretty ruthless.
Yeah, indeed.
So, are we happy with that?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Marvellous. It's number 5.
So this one for me is fairly simple. It goes sort of similar to the last list. And it is, the game's just a bit too simplistic. I guess I personally like a bit of meat in games. I'm happy with simple games, as long as they're reasonably simple. I mean, if you think something like One Night of Ultimate Werewolf, that's relatively simple if you're not playing too many complex roles, but the interaction of the players keeps it going, it keeps it fun. There's plenty of simple games that I like, but a game for me can just be too simple. There's just nothing that gets my teeth, that catches me with it, or anything like that, where it's just too one-dimensional for me.
Like Love Letter. Yeah,
Love Letter's a perfect example.
I think this is true for quite a few people. Me, not necessarily so. I will happily play some simple games if they're fun. But yeah, for some people, I know a lot of people who just, the more complex the better.
I think it depends who I'm playing it with. So if I'm playing with my family or people who are fairly new to gaming, I'm quite happy to play a new game because I can see there's this kind of learning curve they're going through and we're exposing to new things. But if I'm playing with a bunch of other hardcore gamers, then I don't want to play something simple. I feel like I'm wasting the opportunity. We could be playing a heavier game. But in the right group, I don't mind too much.
Yeah, nice, simple.
So my first one is a one-word definition: length. I've played some games that drag on for a while, but what I'm talking about is games that are meant to be long. So Twilight Imperium 3, I went and played it just to say I had, because it's this big behemoth of a game. But yeah, it's not for me. It's just too long for me to want to sit down and play a game. There are other games as well. I don't have any intention. I've not played it, but Eclipse is another long one.
Yeah,
as well. I'm just the length of that game is what puts me off. Not any of the mechanics necessarily in the game. There's some very good games. And Twilight Imperium 3 is a very good game. It's just too much of my time that I want to invest in the game. It puts me off.
I think it depends again what it is. Some games like Twilight Imperium, I'm quite happy to sit there all day and play that one. Because there's so much going on, as well as there's the whole social aspects, as well as your kind of building up your fleets and the technology and everything else. There's enough to keep me involved.
I think there's like some games I don't know how you'd make a lot shorter. I think that's the
you can't make that sort of game shorter.
But from your personal perspective, you want to play.
Even my Euro games, some of the Euro games I played with some people.
You've worn back on that for a while. You would have gone any Euro game, and even now you're looking. Like the real lengthy Lisboa's actually.
Lisboa's too long for me now, I think. And it's not a bad game. They're clearly not bad games. I mean, Agra, I think it's a great game, but it goes on a bit long.
I love Agra.
It's very good, but I think when you've played it a few times, you can get quicker at it. But some games are just intrinsically long and they have to be.
Yeah.
And that would put me off.
Yeah. Okay. Mine is one that probably would have been more of a turn on a few years ago, but I've just played so many of these kind of games that I'm no longer interested in any more of them, and that's essentially dungeon crawls. I think dungeon crawls can be great. Some of my favourite games are dungeon crawls, but if there's a new game coming out and you tell me it's a dungeon crawl, I'm just not interested. I feel like I've got enough dungeon crawls to last me the rest of my life almost, and I have no interest in picking up any more. It feels like a shame in some way, because I'm sure there's going to be some new good ones coming out, but there are already just such great ones. I just don't feel like I need anything else.
Do you think this is like an oversaturation? And if you'd seen Dungeon Crawl, no, not for me, until it gets so much buzz that you feel you have to try it.
Yeah, I suppose I might be persuaded if everyone was talking about it.
So, like, Arcadia Quest is sort of a dungeon.
Yeah.
And you hadn't played it, and I made you play it.
Yeah.
But it just, you wouldn't look in any further unless, like, 10 people told you should try this game.
Yeah, and I'd happily sit down and play it. But dungeon crawls are usually quite a significant investment. If you're going to buy one, you can easily spend over £100 on some of these dungeon crawls.
I mean, you're not trying to step, because this, I suppose, could come up later, but is it because you feel like you've got enough campaigns of dungeon crawls you haven't finished already?
Yeah, that's right.
Because inevitably, dungeon crawls are very rarely one-shot games. They are a series of games. And if you feel like, oh, I've never got through the second edition once, why would I now get another one that I won't get to finish?
Yeah, definitely.
So you said turn-ons in games. We definitely need to do top 5 turn-ons if we're doing top 5 turn-offs, I suppose.
Well, I never. It's number 4.
So my number 4 is one that I think a lot of people might like, but is a big turn-off for me, and that is cooperative games that lend themselves to alpha gamers. If you want to alpha game it, fine, you go and play it solo. I don't want to play with you if that's the case. And cooperative games I am a big fan of generally, but I want to be involved. And I don't want to lead the discussion, I want to be involved. So I want my own information, my own special abilities, my own thing that I'm in charge of, where we have a common goal. And games that don't allow you to do this, because it's the game's fault, I just don't want to play.
Yeah, it's tricky because there's the whole question of, is it a design issue if there's someone alpha gaming it? Like, should you design the game?
But we played a game of Ghost Stories about 3 or 4 years ago. It's a game I own. I've not played it since. And we played with the expansion. That wasn't the issue. But we played with 2 people who hadn't played before, and they were quite not forceful in their opinions.
Yeah, you could tell they were new to it. They weren't quite sure what was going on, so they were just kind of holding back.
I'd be like, on my turn, I don't want to tell them what to do. So what I would say, well, maybe we could do, maybe even on my own turn, I would kind of volunteer. It's my turn, my character. I could do this or this. What do you think, guys? And he wouldn't say anything, and Jonathan eventually goes, well, you should do this. I'm like, well, yeah, I know I should do that. Like,
we can definitely see why you're in a board being cafe.
Yeah, and I'm trying to evolve. And since that particular game, I've been put off from playing games like that, where effectively one person could play themselves.
I think it's fine as long as everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
If you're all forceful enough to put your opinion across, but not willing to overpower other people, then it doesn't matter, I don't think. But you can very easily end up in a bad situation.
Pandemic Legacy was such a complicated game that we needed to brainstorm ideas.
Yeah.
But some games are cooperatively so simple that one person could alpha game.
I mean, sure, that's when cooperatives are the best.
Or I know what to do this turn, and you go, yeah, well, so do I. It's this, and I'm like, yeah, it is. But one of us could just say it first, and the other person's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I guess the argument in Pandemic, there generally is a correct move to make on any given situation. Well, the best, as you say, is when everybody's pooling ideas, because if there is a best idea, it certainly isn't clear.
Yeah.
That's what
Pandemic isn't clear enough. You could go here, then fly to here, and trade this. Or what if we do this first, build a research? Yeah. So, that's fine, but my issue is with games that don't allow you to do that.
I think it works best when there's too much information for one person to be able to process everything. So each person focuses on, I'm going to process this, and then tell everyone else what I think the best version of this is, and then you kind of come up with a decision together.
You think, well, we played Spirit Island fairly recently, and that because you have your own set of powers, it's too much for you to take in what everybody can do at the time. So it's like, I can do this to help you, and you go, oh, that's really good because I can do this, and that worked quite well. But if somebody's so good, I suppose, if they knew every power, and they go, we just need to do that. But in that, you get different hands of cards, you don't know what you're going to get, so it changes it up.
That was very good. All right, mine I've summed up in one word, which is hilarity. I really don't like it when games, particularly it always seems to be Kickstarter games, say a hilarious game of such and such. Because the problem I find is that people's sense of humour varies enormously. What's very funny to one person is often very not funny to somebody else. And my sense of humour never seems to really gel with most people's sense of humour. So if it's a game that I'm described as, oh, it's hilarious, you're going to be laughing all the time, chances are I'm not going to find it funny at all. And this has happened a few times. I do have a sense of humour, there's things I find very funny, but it never seems to just match up, particularly in terms of games. So any game which is designed to make you laugh, it's not going to work for me.
I'm thinking.
I'm no complaints with your pick there. I agree with you entirely.
You've been in games, haven't you, with me?
You would not like it. Well, I think it's like you laugh, but you don't kind of laugh out. You wouldn't have a laughing fit. You don't have that sort of. You don't have that sort of outward.
I'm fairly serious generally, as you may have picked up, but there are things that will make me laugh uncontrollably. But it's very rarely games.
Yeah, it's more of a situation, isn't it? The game. If the game itself is making you laugh that much, it must be. You just can't do that. It's more the crowd you're with and situation, which means any game can make you laugh, and the game itself doesn't need to be hilarious.
Think about the explanation of Luna.
That's right.
That's not funny, but.
And that was just a random. The monks were jumping into the sea, weren't they, in order to take their actions?
And if you stand them back, you wake them up, and they all jump out of the sea.
And it was for some reason that just set me off, and I got a bit of the giggles while trying to explain one of the games. It's on a video if you watch a video of Luna, and I just couldn't control myself. But there's nothing inherently particularly funny about it. It just set me off.
I agree with that. I've seen these Kickstarters, and I just don't consider them games, to be honest.
I also think that's a terrible selling mechanism because it makes you sound like you're going to be on Asda's game shelf, a hilarious game of that is the bottom of all selling. I mean, in the case of the US, there's definitely a Walmart.
This is games is next to a shelf of wine.
Yes.
Where you need to be drinking to enjoy yourself. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, my number 4 is games that repeat the mechanism just too many times. And for example, the easiest one generally you think of is like cube pushing. If you think of, we have done Lords of Water, but Noria was probably the one that was the most easiest recently. It's literally, I get resource, I convert resource into another resource, I score points. And repeat for 2 hours.
Yeah, okay.
That for me is, I need something more. It's not that this isn't too simple because there could be lots of different combinations to do that. But essentially, I'm doing A to B to get C.
Too many times.
And just repeat on repeat on repeat. I mean, Noria had the whole wheel thing, but it didn't mask the fact that was the whole game was just a different ways of getting resources to get converted. And anything like that where I'm just doing it again and again and again.
Yeah, I think certainly for a modern Euro, there does need to be some innovative mechanism in there, doesn't there? Because so many of them, at the end of the day, you're getting some kind of resource which you convert into points.
Yeah.
But how you go about that's got to be engaging.
See, I quite like this. Maybe the too much bit might be a stipulation, but like Le Havre, you both think it lasts too long, at least you do. And you are churning stuff into stuff for like 30 rounds, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Something
Thank
like that. But I like that, so it's not a turn off for me.
Extraordinary. It's number 3.
So my number 3, again, tends to crop up, I find, a lot on Kickstarter games. A game of Backstabbing and Betrayal. It's usually something that turns me off, particularly if it's an hilarious game. Backstabbing and Betrayal. It's... I don't mind the traitor mechanic occasionally, but it has to be done very well. But in a game where you set up with the intention of backstabbing, and so I'll make an agreement with you, and you're both secretly plotting to backstab each other. It's like, well, I don't know really why we're even making the agreement in the first place. We both know this agreement is not going to last. And again, I think it's the right kind of group, because you guys both are quite happy with this.
Yeah, I love it.
But
it depends on the right situation.
Depends. Yeah. This was on my shortlist. It's Take That Games.
I don't like Take.
Okay, yeah. So it's not the take. So I don't like Take That, but yeah, it's the specific where you know you're going to be making agreements and you know you're going to be breaking them.
So you'd hate
he loves this. I think you quite like this.
I don't mind if you make an agreement with someone and there's the potential for a backstab, but you could equally just keep the agreement for the rest of the game. But there are some games which are designed from the outset that you should be backstabbing at every opportunity. Yeah. And
because if you don't get backstabbed, you're going to win, and people say, well, he's winning, we need to backstab him.
Yeah.
I don't want backstab at every opportunity, though. I think it's the well-timed backstab I like. The one that... But not the...
He's very good
every time.
He's very good at the well-timed backstab.
It's the I'm going to be good all the way through the game until that one point. That's fun to me. I don't want it to be like diplomacy where everyone just repeatedly backstabs
so
all the way through the game.
I agree with you. I do not like this.
But Mark, you're right. Mark does this really well, and I'm actually quite happy with that.
The one-off backstab.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll play some game, and Mark, it's particularly games when you have the kind of prisoner's dilemma type thing at the end, and you both reveal, and we'll say, should we be nice to each other? And Mark's like, yeah, I'll be nice, and then he is nice. Oh, great. And then we do it again. Oh, he's nice again. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm enjoying this. And I kind of know so he's going to that's right, at some point. But it's like, I think he'll still be nice this time.
But Mark will backstab you one turn before you were going to backstab him.
Yes,
he will know when
he'll do it at the point which means that he then wins the game usually.
It's push your luck mechanism.
Yes,
How far do you push me?
How far do you trust Mark? You think you can trust him this much, you can only trust him this much.
Yeah, that's true.
No, this is not a mechanic I like, or a reason to like a game for me.
Again, my one has been sort of mentioned by Steve.
Number 3?
Yeah, my number 3.
Okay.
It's been sort of mentioned by Steve already, but mine's different context that I kind of came to. It's games that outstay their welcome. If somebody told me this game should be done half an hour earlier, I wouldn't want to play it. I guess the more I prefer games to be concise within their rule set and what they are. This is where I disagree, because I'm quite happy to play 2 hour, 3, 4, whatever, because I don't see how you can make that too much of a shorter game. But games that you just feel like you get in there and you think it's hit its high point, and now it's either trailing off or it's just kind of going to be what it is, and it is. If it's too long for what it is, then I don't enjoy it.
Le Havre is the perfect example of this.
So this is a turn-off. So basically, you need to know that it's going to be too long when you see the game to avoid it.
That's difficult to gauge.
It is difficult.
Yeah, but I think I will see people in reviews say it'd be good if it finished the round sooner.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I suppose if you listen to a review and they say that, you're like, not for me then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, it's me. I forgot what my number 3 was. Laughing too much, I think. My initial thought when we came to this list was a list of mechanics I don't like, but within those mechanics there are games I do like. So this is a mechanic where I don't think I like any version of any game that has this mechanic, and that is a one versus many hidden movement game. I don't think I've ever liked any, and I've played quite a lot. I'll play them once if you make me, but I will never ever show interest in buying a game or saying, "Oh, can you bring that tomorrow?" I will never do that because I just do not like it.
So Scotland Yard was like the original one, wasn't it?
I played that as a kid, and then I got into modern board games and realised how much I hated Scotland Yard.
You got Letters from Whitechapel.
Yeah, not played.
Dracula.
Fear of Dracula I have played.
Spectre Ops.
Friday the 13th.
Okay.
That one we played in Essen that you almost backed.
I can't remember what it's called anymore.
Venice or somewhere.
and you're moving them around.
So why don't you like it?
It's a combination of things. Too slow. Sometimes they know they're going to win the game an hour before they do. They realise you've misguessed where they are, and you're like, well, I could just say you've misguessed where I am, but then you'll change what you're going to do and come and find me. So I'll have to sit there for an hour while you fail to find me. Or you're going to catch them. Well, they can't get any further in less than half an hour. So it's potentially length to some extent. If I can see I'm going to win or lose a game, I will tell you. We played Seven Wonders Duel, and I'm going to go, okay, I'm actually going to lose this game. You're going to get that last science token before me.
Yeah.
Let's not play it out. Let's just say you win. And I want to be able to do that in a game. But because it's sort of cooperative, you're one versus many or many versus one, I don't feel I can end these games.
Oh, okay. Because I loved playing Scotland Yard as a kid. And I really enjoy being on either side of that. I love the puzzle of, well, they were definitely here on this round, so they could be here or they could be here, and you kind of plan out all the options and right now we need to sort of close the net. I love that whole planning. But equally I like it on the other side of they're probably going to go this way. Just that guessing of, can you double back? Which is the best way to try and outguess them?
So I've played enough of these games to know I don't like them. And I've played enough of these games to know that as games, they are balanced and very good. But I just...
Okay.
I just finished the game and think, why did I put myself through that again? And I'll play them. Mark wanted to back this one in Essen, and it was me and Rob, and we needed the people to sit down and play the game just to see how it played, and I was the guy, and I won. But I just didn't enjoy. I was the single guy, but I just not fun.
Okay,
fair enough.
Spiffing. It's number 2.
This pick for me initially put top, then moved it down one. This one is games that are multiplayer solitaire. But I can't. Even most feld games have a certain amount of a reason why you're interacting with the people. Yeah. But there are games where you might as well just put your head down and not look up, and 2 hours later somebody scores and wins and whatever. That just isn't for me. even on a Eurogame, I still play for a certain amount of social fun. I'm here to play with other people. Otherwise, I will play the game on my iPad. And either over the internet or whatever, but I do gaming for the people as well as for the game. And this is just the opposite of what I want from a game. So you say multiplayer solitaire, I am nowhere near it.
So there are some I don't like, but generally it doesn't bother me if the game's good.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me actually. Generally I would say I do play games, like you say, for the social aspect, you're playing with other people. But every now and then, particularly if
I'm thinking of multiplayer now.
I'm tired or I just want a sort of little engaging puzzle, I'm quite happy just to sit there and we'll do our little engaging puzzle, and that's why 2 hours you look up and say, oh, well done, you did it better than me, and I'm quite happy with that. But I can totally understand why some people would not be happy with that.
Yeah, I can, but not me. I like it.
I think there's quite a few people who are happy with that.
Yeah. I think it's actually one of the biggest reasons people hate Eurogames generally. So people who don't necessarily like a lot of Eurogames, this is one of the reasons they cite, it's just multiplayer solitaire, there's no interaction. And that is just due to the Eurogame nature of the thing. But a lot of people cite this, but for me it's actually sometimes a positive.
So I'm quite happy with like worker placement games. If you take that spot, then I can take it. I consider that enough interaction to not be solitaire anymore.
Okay.
I can think of several different
fighting
things.
for endgame win conditions.
Like was it Notre Dame where you're doing drafting? I can't remember what it is. Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's got drafting. It's only a little bit, but it's enough to keep it. something
fighting
going
for majorities.
Okay. Just a little thing. But there are games where it is so solitaire.
There's no interaction.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 2 is games that are too long for what they are, and I'm going to kind of subset this is reactive games. So games where turns are long, and I can't pre-plan what I'm going to do because what I'm going to do depends on what the person before me's done. So I can cite a few games here, and it's not necessarily a mechanic, but one I'm thinking of is like like automobiles would be one. Like I can think about what I'm going to do, but until the other cars have moved, I can't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There was some worker placements game. I can either take this spot, but if he goes there, I go that one. That's fine because I can plan my turn ahead. And what happens is a bit like games that overstay their welcome, and that these games are invariably slow. I'm not saying necessarily long. They could be 2-hour games, but they should be played in an hour. So they do overstay the welcome, and because you're having to wait to see what other people are going to do before your turn, you can't do anything. And I know I'm in one of these games when I'm playing one of these games and I'm giving maths puzzles to someone else who's waiting for a turn. And you've been in a few of these games with me, and you know, and
true.
it's not necessarily mechanics, but like I'm sitting there waiting, I'm getting really bored, I'm falling asleep or something because I can't plan my turn until he's finished, and he won't plan his turn until he's finished, and I'm waiting around, and it's like 15 minutes in between games.
The worst thing is when you're in one of those games and you want to strike up some sort of interesting conversation with the other people who are waiting, but the problem is the person whose turn it is will want to join in the conversation, and then that slows it down even more.
Yeah, I've been in that situation. So I'd give a maths puzzle to someone else, and then Jonathan will look up from his turn and goes, "Oh yeah, that's quite interesting, isn't it?" And then oh no, it's slowing down. But I need the social interaction because I know I can't pre-plan my turn.
Yeah.
Because what other people do reacts to the board. And invariably, so like interaction on other people's turns is very good in games where turns are quite long.
Yes, and I think it's a design issue if it doesn't exist at all. As you say, if there's nothing you can do until it gets to your turn, that's an issue, I think.
If it's like multiplayer solitaire, where when it's my turn, I go it, I can generally pre-plan my whole turn. So it's a lot of the time you're reacting to other people. And if you can't start thinking until your turn, that's bad.
Again, it's difficult to gauge though, isn't it? Like if you're looking at a game or you're watching a review, unless somebody says there's a lot of waiting around between turns, it's very hard to know whether or not that'll be the case.
Yeah, but I think sometimes dudes on a map games might count, racing games might count.
What about the one where I can't remember the name, the other one where you move the guys round, it's essentially rondel where you pick up, and you can, how many pick up off this single spot, and then you drop them round, and the board changes
like
between...
Mancala? Okay.
Yeah, Mancala, but I'm trying to think of the one that was where you essentially have genies and stuff, and you pick them all up.
Oh, 5 tribes.
Yeah, and because the board state changes too much in between each one.
Yeah, that's right.
And, okay, right, he's just had to go, let's analyse what's the best move potentially for me. Yeah, that is one. Yeah. I'm not too bothered about that particular game, but that sort of mechanic, generally, I do not like.
Okay. Right, I definitely need to look at this because I've got a whole list of things here. Essentially, my number 2 is I've put certain themes. Themes in general are very important to me in games, so a theme can make or break a game for me. There are some themes that I really am interested in or really attract me to a game, and other themes, as soon as I see it, I'm like, no, I'm not interested at all. So, for example, cats. Anything to do with I have no interest in playing a game about cats. Which the thing that's amazing me is just how many games there are that seem to be about cats. Games with absurd themes. So laser shark ghost zombies? Nope, I'm not interested. Again, particularly on Kickstarter, there are an awful lot of games with just ridiculous combos of things.
Can I just stop? Is laser shark ghost zombies a thing? That's just something you made up.
I just made that up.
Okay, go on.
But honestly, it is representative of things I've seen. And I even saw a game where the theme essentially was period drama. In terms of most genres of films, I'm generally happy to watch most different kinds of films, but period drama I have no interest in whatsoever. So when it comes up in a board game, I'm like, no, I'm not playing period drama for 2 hours. Again, that's subjective, it's what you like and what you don't like, but there are certain things that really put me off. So that would be an instant kind of, here's a review about this game. No, it's that theme. I'm not going to even watch the video.
It's not on my list necessarily, but this is probably one too. There's probably a couple of themes that I wouldn't be interested in as well, but maybe not to the same extent as you.
I suppose I didn't play Agricola for age just because it was about farming, and then I played it and I quite liked it. So, and they were all, I suppose, bizarre themes that were off the wall.
Yeah,
I can certainly see that. Just people doing weird things just for the sake of it. I mean, the argument I suppose also goes stuff like offensive things like Secret Hitler. A lot of people went, I won't do because I won't touch that with a
That seems to be one specific thing, but themes in general.
But yeah.
By Jove, it's number 1.
Okay, so it's time for our number 1, and Steve has a question this time.
So the last Board Game Opinions video you were in, what did you rate the game? I think mine was a 7.
Mine was a 6.5.
It was Patchwork, which I rated a 9. Patchwork is an excellent game.
Jonathan, myself, and Mark.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, cool. So my one is slightly connected with the previous one. What I've written here is retro cartoon artwork. Artwork in general is very important to me. I really like good artwork, but there are certain kinds of artwork that really put me off. And I've just summarised the type as retro cartoons. So things like Ren and Stimpy, if you ever saw that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That kind of there's that. What's that game? Like just constant take that. The dark. No, the
Munchkin.
No, it's got this really gory artwork, but it's all cartoony, very clashing colours. Something on Mount.
Oh,
with
the Epic
Battle Skull Mountain.
Skullfire. Mount Skullfire at the end of
Epic
it.
Battle Mages Wizards Mountain Skullfire.
That's the one.
Something like that. Yeah.
Look at the artwork on that, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. So some of them are very gory just for the sake of it, and some of them aren't so much. But that sort of it's very stylized, but it also looks like it's been done by a child to a certain extent. But I know that's kind of intentional. I hate it, really hate it. So I'm just, if I'm going to spend some time sitting down playing a game, I don't want to spend my time looking at that kind of unpleasant artwork the whole time as I see it. And I realise again it's very subjective. But in general, any kind of artwork that I don't like, I'm not going to be interested in the game just because of that.
Right. Yeah. I agree that this is something you would treat as a very high priority.
I care about art. There are particular games, but mine would be more like, I hate the style of Lisboa again. I don't like that art style. I looked back at it and went, I'm not going to with that book.
I find it very dull, that art style, but it doesn't put me off. Whereas some types of art really put me off.
Okay, so Trajan you would consider dull,
Yes.
but not off-putting.
Some might hate like Chibi. Yeah. Some people might hate Arcade Quest because they really dislike
the Chibi,
that style of art.
Yeah.
Well, they'd be wrong.
I agree.
So my number 1 comes a bit back to theme, and I got dubbed Themeless Steve and whatnot. But the subcategory of this is any game where you have to role play to get into the game. So like D&D, I'm not interested in. Gloom, where you have to kind of pretend to be the character. No, just tell me how to score points. So I'm trying to select some games, but if you tell me the game at any point has some sort of right, you're the wizard, which means you have to act like this or whatever it might be. No. Not a chance. Even like the Seventh Continent, you have a character. If I was told at any point that I had to act like my character would act or anything like that, I'd be like, really? Do I have to bother? It's so off-putting. I really hate kind of having to pretend to be something else. I just want to play a game. Tell me the mechanics, tell me the strategy. I'm going to try and score points.
So I'm perfectly happy to do tabletop, but I wouldn't want it in my board game, if you know what I mean. I don't think. I suppose there's ways you can see it linked up, but generally speaking, I wouldn't want it combined. I don't like stuff like Loom or storytelling games.
A lot of these games, the theme is what makes the game, and the mechanics are a side note. And so I find a lot of the time that you've got to try and get into the theme of the game, and some of that's role playing. Role playing is the bit I'm kind of pulling out and saying this is awful. But any game where if you don't get into the theme of the game, you just there's nothing else there.
So in general, I think I'd be with you on this. Although I have played a couple of games. What's that? Is it Dark Overlord or something? It's like a storytelling game. And with the right group, with the right theme, I actually really enjoy it. So I think in this one, something bad happens. You kind of draw a card for something bad happens, and you have to, when it's your turn, kind of come up with some excuse. You're sort of like a goblin saying to the overlord why it's not your fault. And I really enjoyed playing that game with a bunch of people who really got into it. But I could see in general, if you want to sit down and play a board game, it's a very different experience. And so I can understand why you wouldn't like it. And having said that, I've played other types of storytelling games which I really didn't enjoy at all.
I've narrowed it down to that, but it doesn't have to be storytelling. It's just a game where mechanically it's very light, and you need to get into the theme to enjoy yourself. I don't want to have to do that.
There's the what's the one where you're selling
Snake Oil?
Snake Oil, yeah. So you don't like that.
Played it once. I don't think I'll play it again.
Okay.
So much sure. Yeah, I can see. I did enjoy Snake Oil, but I enjoyed the wittiness of it more.
Yeah, I can be a bit witty, and I don't have to
be that character.
I don't have to. I'm not pretending to be someone. Okay. I'm lying.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's quick enough that I'll play it. If you tell me Snake Oil lasts an hour, I'm like, oh, God, no, thanks.
All right.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, and my number one is a nice and simple one. And yeah, I hate it. Games with fiddly rules. Rules exceptions. If you tell me that it's going to be and just take ages to teach because the nature of the way the rules are, whether it's where they're laid out in the rule book or whether it's just they've got tons of tiny exceptions all over the place.
Yeah, okay.
It just puts me off straight away because I've had far too many games go sour from before people have even started playing it because they go, the rules are just too much to take in. It's generally all right if you're reading them yourself. But to explain some games that should be much simpler to other people because of whatever reason, it can just lead to a bad experience before you even start, and that just kills anything for me.
Can you think of an example?
What's the car game one that can be taught really bad?
Kanban.
Just because there's lots of interconnection, tiny little rules.
So it's like conditional rules. So
yeah.
This spot does this unless you've got this, but if you've done that first, you can't go there.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously something that's changed over time as well, because I would now, which used to be one of my preferred, really like games, but Dungeon Lords, because it's got a horrendous combat system that breaks the game, and you have to teach a game in the game, and it just, you can just see people's heads just going, just don't want to, and they kind of turn off.
It's a lovely idea of a game, but the combat system in that does let it down, I think.
I think it's fine as long as everyone you're playing with has played it before.
Yeah.
And you're happy just to get on with it. But yeah, teaching it with a new player is really difficult.
So games like this as well, I'm trying to struggle. I know I've been in games that have been, sometimes they've been taught badly, sometimes they're badly, the rule book's badly, or sometimes there's no easy way to teach the order to do things in. But it just takes one person to switch off and forget what's been said.
Yeah.
And then they get two turns in and go, oh, what do you mean I can't do this? Oh, no, I wouldn't have done this now. I want to go back to the start and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm struggling to think of an actual example, but yeah, I know what you mean.
You said something in a different conversation, but Anachronie felt that way a bit for me. The actual main work placement's fine, but then there's another sideboard over here that did something. And as soon as you add that, and then there's another sideboard that does something different, it's like, You can argue that in like Terra Mystica. No, the majors are not particularly complex, but it's another thing. So people have got things going on here, and they have to suddenly turn the attention over to that. I can even have to struggle with games that, in the similar sense, would have lots of cards of special powers from the off. Like Kemet, I didn't necessarily. I like the game and I understood it, but you're having to teach all these little all these individual things do slightly different. And it just makes it really tricky for people to get their head around because they have to understand so much in one big... You can't slowly teach it throughout the game. Okay. They need to know it from the off, otherwise they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah. I've been in, and I appreciate this, but I've been in some games where I've had to spend 45 minutes teaching games. I'm thinking recently Arkwright and Agra. For the first time teaching those games, I have to spend a lot of time, because there's a lot of fiddly bits, I have to spend a lot of time reading the rules, and in my head... what is the best way to teach these rules, given my audience, given I want to be quick, but not too quick that they're going to miss stuff.
Yeah. One thing I really don't like, which is connected to this, as you say, is when you've got an awful lot of information that you need to take on board before you can even make a start. So games... is it Elysium where they put all the cards out?
Yeah.
And all of you essentially have to sit there and read one at a time every single card, and when you've all read them, then it's like, okay, now I need to make a decision. Now I know what they do. Once you've played it a few times, it's fine because your card comes out, it's like, oh, I know what that does. But that initial, I've got to read and understand all of
information overload, and then applying that to a strategy that's going to score you points or whatever. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I know you dislike the game, but I much prefer Blood Rages, I've got a hand of cards to pick one, than Kemet. All those tiles. Is a very much they're doing the same thing. Yeah, okay. But as a start, I know that I agree with of it as well.
That is a valid criticism in the two games. That is valid. That is one of Kemet's downsides, I think. Yeah, the information overload.
Yeah, that's true.
So you guys have any other honourable mentions?
My close mention, kind of some of them crossed over. Games Outstay the Welcome, sort of, but Dudes on the Map games. Yeah. Because I also find that take that on Dudes on the Map games. I'm like, we're playing a 3-player game. If Mark attacks me, I'm like, why are you attacking me? He's clearly winning.
Yeah.
And Mark goes, well, he's got more troops than me. I'm like, well, yeah, that's why he's winning. You need to attack him. And so Mark attacks me and Jonathan wins even more. So kind of going into Dudes on the Map games, I have to be really persuaded to play them. The fact that I actually like a few of them, some of them, it kind of stopped me putting it on the list, to be honest.
So I kind of see a similar sort of one where it kind of links to yours, but it's very linked to Dudes on the Map, where you know who's going to win, so you've got to... It's the king making, as in, I'm going to take over the king, then I'm going to take over the king, and then you attack the king, and eventually somebody falls over.
Who isn't attacking the king and holding up.
Yeah, because despite Tower 4 being one of my favourite games, if not my favourite, but that can happen in that. You can in TI4, you can see 3 people are going to win, 4 people are going to win. So you stop one person, then one person stops, it's the one who failed to stop the other one.
Yeah, okay.
But other than that, I've had enough games to TI4 where somebody gets a lot of points in a very short time, then it comes out of nowhere.
So I'd say king making is a mechanic I really don't like, but generally you only find that in take-that games. Not always. Sometimes it's a worker placement game where you can do someone in on the very last turn, but king making, where you purposely beat down one person so someone else can win, is generally in a take-that game.
You can also extend the game as well, because people are just repeatedly trying to...
Yeah. Munchkin.
Oh, that's something I hate. I forgot about that.
Just Munchkin.
But one of those where if the game ends now, he's going to win. So I must not end the game now. Even though I have no chance of winning this game, I need to prolong the agony just to stop someone winning. I really dislike that. When you feel like you've got to make it last longer. Sometimes I'm like, I've had enough of this game. I'm just going to end it. I know I'm not going to win, but I just want it to end.
That guy goes over there.
But then when someone gives in there, when the winner's changing between 2 different people, you've king made.
I know, and it's terrible. Yeah, it is.
Somebody goes, why are you doing that?
That's right. And take that would be my only other honourable mention, really. In general, I just don't like to take that in any kind of game.
I've started listing a few mechanics, but most mechanics, there is a version of a game that I actually quite like. It's just the hidden movement one's the only one that I don't think I've liked.
Universally.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Fair enough. Well, they've been our top 5 turn-offs. Please like and subscribe to this video if you can do, and tell us what your top 5 turn-offs are too.
Yeah.
We've been Matteo and I've been Mark Windle.
Steve Rain, Jonathan Hicks.
Thank you very much for it.
See ya.